Hi, you guys. If you don't mind maybe treating this more of like a podcast today, it should be about a 10-minute video of me doing more of like a review of Anora. If you haven't seen it, it's going to be spoiler alerts. And so grab some coffee, grab some tea. I have the pleasure of being able to break this down, and I want to do due diligence to the character of Annie and to be able to give this movie, I think, what it needs with what seems to be much researched and even most likely talk to some sex workers 100%. So let's get into what I wasn't really sure if I would make it through Anora. At first, it felt like it was a glamorized mess. It was another film romanticizing the sex work with lights, music, nudity, and the fast money dream. And that really bothered me at first. But by the end, I was genuinely surprised because there was a scene in this movie that mirrored moments of my personal life so exactly it had me thinking, what the heck? How did they know? I'm not just reviewing this movie, I'm trying to unpack it through the eyes of someone who's lived this life, who was trafficked through the lover boy method, through fraud, through more, who ended up doing sex work on my own later because it felt familiar and because it became survival. The first act of Anora is pure glam. It's boobs, butts, vapes, clouds, monies, club, substance use. I mean, the sex work is dressed up in lights and bass lines, and that to me is dangerous because when you glamorize survival, people confuse it for freedom. And I think that's why some women fall into the trap of thinking that this is empowerment, why some men romanticize it too. That illusion of control becomes addictive for both sides. Annie has the hustle down. She knows how to act, she knows how to read a man's energy, what to say, when to laugh, when to negotiate. It's not empowerment, it's performance. And that's what many men who go to these strippers and all these places don't get. It's a performance. It's a character she plays to stay safe, to pay her bills, to survive. And that's something most people will miss if they've never lived it. Ivonne, a young gentleman, enters as what I would say a prince in disguise, young, rich, rebellious, plays too much video games, but he also immediately reduces Annie to something he can just buy from their very first time together. Even if it's unclear whether he pays her or not, it's still transactional. And that matters because even when he asks her to be his girlfriend for a week and they end up agreeing to $15,000, it's still a contract. It's still performance. That's not going to be a relationship. And I saw that right off the bat. Ivonne doesn't fall in love with Annie. He falls in love with the idea of Annie, the edgy stripper, the American escape. She represents rebellion against his controlling family. But the moment his parents found out that they got married and they show up, the mask, well, other Russians show up, the mask slips. He cannot protect her, and he doesn't even try. He runs, he's out. During the divorce scene, Annie sees him for who he is, immature, cowardly, not a partner, just a boy playing pretend with someone else's life. And that moment to me is one so many women and men know all too well. It's that honeymoon phase. And once that phase ends and the mask slips off, it's it's like, and the person who said that they'd save you or they were a certain way, they can't even look you in the eye anymore. Even the sex with them felt mechanical. There was no intimacy, no emotional connection, because when you've learned to survive by disassociating during sex, your body performs, but your soul stays locked away. Annie is one of the most accurate depictions of survival mode in this type of context I've seen in a while. Every interaction she has is calculated. She switches masks effortlessly. Sometimes she goes from being an sex kitten, party girl, cool girlfriend, But underneath it all is someone who is hard, who doesn't know who she is anymore. And there's no intimacy in her relationships, not even with Ivonne. I don't think they kiss even once. I don't even think they did, because real affection would break the performance. And she doesn't know how to receive that without feeling like she's being exposed. Igor is one of the Russian guys that try to come in and stop and help the family with stopping the marriage. He wasn't supposed to be what I would say love interest, but from the moment they shared a scene, I saw a connection where Ivonne looked at Annie like a rebellion. Igor looked at her like a person. He didn't chase her. He didn't try to buy her. He just saw her. And that scene at the very end, that scene, it hit me hard because it happened to me almost exactly the same. Annie reenacts the character that she always plays. The SEX becomes survival. She ends up willingly wanting to be with Igor because he humanizes her, but Igor doesn't want the performance. He wants to kiss her. He wants intimacy, and she panics. When you've been trained to see affection as a threat, even kindness feels dangerous. Um, but Annie didn't, I don't think that she hit Igor because she hated him or wanted to hurt him. She hit him because for the first time she trusted someone enough to be seen. Throughout the film, she called men names, including Igor, many times, pushed people away, kept control, but Igor let her cry. He let her be messy. He let her just be. And that was the moment she could no longer play a character. That was when the armor cracked. I know this because I experienced the exact same thing while I was watching it. My partner was sitting there with me and saw the moment my whole face changed. I couldn't hide it. He knew that scene hit me really hard. That scene brought back the moment I realized that I couldn't keep performing with somebody that I ended up having feelings for. And for me, it felt like torture because if I stayed with someone like that, someone safe, someone real, I knew I couldn't keep pretending anymore. I couldn't keep being that character that I was. The scars from being trafficked, escaping, and continuing the chains of sex work on my own left deep, deep marks. And those marks made it nearly impossible to understand what real love or real safety even looked like. I hated kissing. So I understand why Annie was like, no. Annie seemed like she was in that same place, never having had a relationship that felt safe or loving or gentle. That kind of love doesn't just feel foreign, it feels unsafe when you're used to danger being the normal. That final scene captures something that most people will never understand. It's when your body is there, but your soul is screaming. It's the moment when someone tries to cross a line that should feel romantic, but for you, it feels like a violation. It's trauma that doesn't look violent on the outside, but inside, it's defeating. It shows what intimacy feels like for so many sex workers. When someone tries to give you affection honestly, your nervous system isn't safe. And sometimes it's not even about the man, it's about your body rejecting connection because of what it has learned that love cost. Igor, to his credit, just held that space. He didn't run, he didn't push her away, he stayed and he held her and he let her break for the first time. And in a world that constantly tries to fix, possess, or profit off of women like Annie, he simply just let her exist. This movie matters to me because I started off hating this movie. I thought it was glamorizing everything that I have escaped and things that I've seen, but by the end, it did something so few films do. It told the truth, not just about sex work or money or men. In the end, it didn't glamorize it, but it showed what it costs to survive by playing a character for so long that you forget who you really are. Some people won't understand why Annie hit Igor or understand this movie, why she cried, why she froze at a kiss, but I do. And if you do too, maybe you've lived it and maybe you're still trying to figure out how to stop performing. This movie, in its final moments, gave that pain a voice, and that matters. I really appreciate the people who made this movie. I really wanted to click away at first, but it really came at the end, and it came really hard in a way that just allowed for, I think, many women who have been in that line of work that has to put on a mask, that has to put on a performance to finally feel heard and seen. And thank you so much to the people who made that movie, because there are so many people out there who constantly judge instead of trying to understand something so complex. What people say it's what people say is the longest his job that there has been, the longest career, and yet so many people just shit talk on people that are in it, and it's just weird to me. It's very weird. um and I thank you for watching. If you guys have seen it, what did you think? Let me know. Let me know about just anything that I said that maybe hit for you. And I'll see you guys later. All right, bye.